Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It has been a very, very busy day, to be quite honest. I was putting my morning video up, and literally, I heard that Ben DiNucci was the first cut. He was the first one that they X'd off the team. And from that point on, I started live streaming. It started live streaming for so long that I was going to switch over here to this section, and I hadn't actually preempted it and turned on all the monitors and got a shockwave that killed that stream. So we restarted the stream, and then I had a family emergency that I had to take care of, and came back, and then for the final cuts, we were streaming as well as they came across the wires. Couple of things I want you guys to be aware of, okay? The 53-man roster as it sits right now is not going to be the final 53 roster, because what happens is this. When guys are cut, they go through basically in the draft order, and teams have basically the right of first refusal of players. Okay, this is the waiver wire. And so all these players that are now cut are now out on waivers, and anybody can sign them. With the exception of if they've already got like an injured reserve designation, or if they have an international designation where they're already put on the practice squad, like a Coon. You know, a Coon who we all fell in love with from Hard Knocks, where we saw his family and everything else, especially his mother. You can tell his mother takes no BS. She cut a man. I'm sure she would cut a man right there. But he is actually already on the Dallas Cowboys practice squad, and nobody can take him. Kamara is another one that is actually going to be on our practice squad as well. So shout out to both of those. They made us fall in love with them, and the Cowboys, of course, going to keep them. And quite frankly, let's be clear here. It's to the benefit of the Dallas Cowboys as well as the NFL to have those guys on the team, because this helps expose more of the world to it. And this is where the NFL is coming up with this whole international players exemption to help keep them on the roster, to make sure that they, have an opportunity to try and learn the game, become on active rosters, as well as to give more exposure to other countries and things out there. It's actually a great program where the NFL is doing that. But what's happening is if you have a guy that you really like and you don't want to lose, you may end up putting him on the active roster for a day or two, just so that way you don't lose them, as opposed to exposing them to the waiver wires. You may put guys out on the waiver wires that you don't think anybody's going to sign, knowing that you'll be able to bring them back. Because a lot of the guys that are on waiver wires will be put onto our practice squad. For example, Garrett Gilbert will be coming back on our practice squad. It's a possibility, and there's some rumors that Ben DiNucci may be put back onto the practice squad. Not sure why. Maybe he's got something on the Dallas Cowboys or Jerry Jones or Mike McCarthy or something, but we'll see where it goes. So keep in mind, this is not all of it. And the Dallas Cowboys are, as Joanna Anderson said, doing their due diligence on Cam Newton with every other player that's out there as well. Because now you look at places where your roster may be soft. There may be young guys, maybe talented veterans that still have some mileage left on those tires that you bring in to supplement your roster. So right now, the Cowboys, much like after the draft, they're looking at the undrafted rookie free agents and signing those guys. The Cowboys may say, you know what, right now we only have 2 healthy tight ends on the roster, Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz. They may look at, say, trying to get a tight end to help back up those guys. And so this is the games that are being played today and into tomorrow and the next couple of days. Now, the Cowboys have a little bit of a break. Noah Brown ended up going on the COVID list, okay? Don't know if he was exposed to somebody or if he tested positive or what happened. Either way, those guys that are on the COVID list don't count against you. Now, interestingly enough, they said that by Thursday, most of the guys would be back. It's funny that they didn't come back before Wednesday, because that's when you have to go ahead, when they come back, make those roster moves. So some of those guys that are on the roster right now may be kicked to the curb, or if you're the Cowboys, this is how it kind of works. You may put them on the roster right now so nobody can get them on waivers. Then when the other guys come back, they're free agents, but you put them on the practice squad. So it gets you the opportunity to hold on to 5 guys and not expose them to waivers. So let's go ahead and go to the list, exactly all the transactions that the Dallas Cowboys did today. So first thing, passed the physical today, Chauncey Golston. So now it's going to be interesting to see what we do with that defensive end now that he's actually passed his physical. He's on the 53 man. He's one of those 53 that they count. Tristan Hill reverts to reserve PUP list and will go probably on IR after the deadline passes. See, if you put them on before the deadline, then they're on IR for the year. Okay? Dottle is on IR for the year. He can't return this season. But after the date, if you put them on IR, they can come back. And this is key because you look at a guy like Gallimore. He'll go on IR with a designation of being able to return. Reverts to reserve NFI, TJ Vasher. Reserve COVID, we talked about Noah Brown going on the COVID list. Out release, Garrett Gilbert, double G, but I think Garrett Gilbert comes back as a practice squad guy. I don't think they're going to not do that one. Darian Thompson was released. I think he comes back as a practice squad guy. Dante Burton is gone. I don't think they're going to bring him back, but who knows. Jake McQuaid, Eric Smith, Jeremy Sprinkles. I'm actually surprised that Sprinkles, knowing that we only have 2 healthy tight ends, isn't back, but it may be that they end up bringing him back on the practice squad. Justin Hamilton. And the thing you have to understand, the practice squads, you can call guys up and use them. So it's kind of like, your stash kitty, okay? It's your backup money, or it's your, safe house where, you got all kinds of weapons and stuff in there if you're an action movie person. They waived Johnny Dixon, Ben DiNucci, Overus Mitchell, Reggie Davis, Aaron Parker, Stephen Parker, Brendan Knox, Jaquaid Hardy, and I actually thought they would keep Hardy as a backup running back, but they didn't. Tyler Cole, Nick Ralston, Nick Ebanks, Avavius Lynn, Austin Falua, Isaac Alarcon. And Alarcon we talked about too. Alarcon got cut, but because, remember, of the international designation, he is brought back on the practice squad to develop. And you got to like the guy. You definitely have to love the guy. Brandon James, Brandon Smith, and Rondell Carter. And I was kind of surprised about Rondell being cut. I think they would love to bring him back on the practice squad because he actually showed really, really well in the last preseason game. But the problem is you got numbers games, and the Cowboys actually have a lot of edge rushers. And unfortunately, you can't keep everybody you want. There's only 53 men spot. So that's the moves that they've made thus far today. But look for them to go ahead. A couple of these guys that are on the 53-man roster right now will end up changing their designation over the next couple of days as we bring the other guys off the COVID list, and as if the Cowboys decide to sign anybody else. Now, the big thing, the big one that's out there is Cam. Oh, Cam. That's right, Cam Newton. That was kind of a big surprise. I thought they would keep him on the roster just to kind of mentor Mac Jones. But then again, knowing Bill Belichick and Cam Newton seem like polar opposites. And with Cam Newton not taking the COVID shot and then having to go through the protocol this past week and missing time, you know that Bill Belichick is a straight-laced guy, by the rules, except for I break the rules when it fits me. But understanding that, in New England, you don't make a whole lot of noise. You are really anonymous. You can see the difference in Tom Brady, how he's, we're seeing personality in Tom Brady that we didn't know he had when he was in New England. And releasing him, I guess they figured, let's just start this party over right now. I got my quarterback, I got my free agents, I got my defense back. We'll get a running game going, and we will keep this party, or we'll start this party over and see if we can get this dynasty re-kicked in. And I dare say, you watch New England, they're going to be good. But I'm actually happier we're facing Mac Jones instead of Cam Newton. Week 6, he's still going to be, he's still going to be really new. His cherry might not be popular. Maybe the Cowboys can pop that cherry. But as far as Cam being out there, couple of things. Jolena Anderson said, the Cowboys are doing due diligence on Cam Newton. Okay, well, they're going to do due diligence on everybody out there in every position that they need players. You can definitely look at the Cowboys and say, we could use an upgrade if we end up losing Dak Prescott. Because you can look back when the Cowboys have lost their starter, with the exception of Dak Prescott taking over for Tony Romo, they've had issues. We brought in a Matt Castle. We had Brandon Whedon, and they say, stay off the Whedon, okay? Didn't work. We had, of course, the John Kitnas and things. And so if you lose your starting quarterback, when you look at the team as a whole, you hope that you have somebody that can hold serve. And Cooper Rush has no experience. Garrett Gilbert has very little. Cam Newton, hey, he does have some. The question is, would the Cowboys do this? Is this basically a clickbait? And it kind of is, because you stated what the Cowboys are doing with every player in the NFL. They're going to look through, just like Stephen Jones says, player acquisition is a 365-day-a-year job. You always want to look for guys that can help make your roster better. So, that being said, of course, they'll talk about, what do you think? Are we good at backup quarterback? Are you comfortable with Cooper Rush if Dak Prescott goes down? Should we entertain the idea? And if we entertain the ideas, what are the positives? What are the negatives? Well, he doesn't want to get vaccinated. If he's going to come here, everybody else is vaccinated. You got to be a team player. So if that's not going to be something he's going to do, is that a deal breaker for us? That's the first thing. Second thing, how much is it going to cost us? Will he be able to play at a high level, being that he hasn't been here? How will he fit in our system? These are all things when you talk about due diligence, and I'm sure that will happen. Do I think Cam Newton will be signed? No, I don't. The other part on this, too, is keep in mind, if you sign somebody before week 1, their contract will be fully guaranteed. You're on the chain for whatever that contract number it is. If it's after week 1, it's not fully guaranteed. You're basically, renting them rent to own, okay? However long you have them, that's what you're going to pay for. You decide to cut them early, you get out of the contract. So that's where we are right now with the Dallas Cowboys. It's kind of a waiting game right now to see what they do. And something can happen 5 minutes from now, or maybe nothing happens. This is one of those things you just don't know. But one thing I do know what happens, in 4 hours, Hard Knocks will be on, and the Jobu Sports Report will be here. And that's all I have to say right now. I appreciate you being here for this Jobu Sports Report update. You're up to speed on Cut Day. Peace.